Hello and welcome to episode 27 of our Pathfinder Kingmaker Ultimate Beginner's Guide. In today's episode we will progress the following quest that we picked up last time, which is the Lost Relic, and also completing a few of the locations looking for the Defaced Sisters. For example, these two above here. Maybe we'll get around to the Forsaken Mound today as well. Before you continue too much, you may want to come into your characters here, especially Jubilos and Tristan. You want to prepare a fair bit of freedom of movement, alongside a fair few death ward spells as well. The enemies we'll be facing over here and even up here are mostly undead, and so is the case for this location down here. With that being said, let's make our way over there. We can track around here instead of taking the long route. In fact, before I enter, just to get those spells online for these two characters, I might as well take a rest outside the location. And let's take a look at our recipe list now. Smoked trout and Hydra Plate has a bonus to AC, which is useful. Boiled Tuskwater oysters is good for your casters, but not really worth the cost of Tuskwater oysters, as they can be sold for 1,000 gold. Owlbear Omelette is also pretty good for the attack rolls. Cheese Crostata is good while traveling on the world map, so you don't have to rest as often, and the rest provides small little bonuses that we've already gone over a fair few times. We're basically looking at these bottom 5 recipes, maybe even Monster Casserole as well for the damage. With our spells now complete, we can enter the Sepulcher of Forgotten Heroes. Luckily, freedom of movement is 10 minutes per level, and since we're level 11 now, it can last for more than a few hours, so we can freely put this on our front line in terms of these 3 right here. If it somehow runs out in that duration, you might as well need to rest inside, although do be warned, you need to spend rations to do so. After a bit of light buffing, we can continue through the doorway. Once we arrive, we need to speak the word Kep, and the doorway opens. This location here is actually somewhat of a puzzle, and I will attempt my best to guide you through it. With that being said, let's move up until we find something that we can do. A few knowledge world checks. Note and remember their name, Mordecai. 200 gold in terms of valuables in there. And alongside here we should find another thing, actually Bragg here. I recommend healing him. And to do so, you just need to click We're Just Travelers or even go through these, and then we'll heal them. We have to do it twice, which is 2 bad alignments for us, but unfortunate things happen from time to time. To open this door, we have to click on this, and there we go, we're through. The reason we quote-unquote pre-buffed with freedom of movement is that there are a few enemies up ahead that can cast Hold Person, and freedom of movement counters this entirely. With that being said, we might want to move up a little bit more and then start casting Death Ward on our folks as well to mitigate their energy drain. Another door and another little rune we can open to enter it. Here we could go into the central area of the place and also continue this way to this door. Let's make it simple and mark down this yellow rune here and enter this central room. We got a few zombie cyclops each side, and I know for a fact that there's a few zombie priests that'll, as mentioned, cast Hold Person. However, as long as we have freedom of movement, and if they target our tanks, we are fine. This is the priest I'm talking about. It will cast Channel Negative Energy, so these two will lose a little bit of HP. 18 and 19, so I want to deal with this priest as quick as possible, so it won't get too many of those off. Unfortunately, he even got 2 off because I missed it, though it is only impacting my dog and Edrahel himself, since Jaethal is undead. The priest has a few protective items that can sell for about 1,000 gold, so that's that. This is even enchanted, so grab that for a little bit more. This body back here carries an enchanted padded armor +3 and a fallen warrior's buckle. Since this door, or this rune here, is both green and yellow, it means it has opened 2 doors. This following doors are and to open the ones to the west and east, we have to go forward through here. We got some barbarians flanking us from each side. They can rage, so do be careful that they don't reach your backline. Luckily, with a little bit of pre-buffing, we are in a pretty good spot to where we can safely survive the most of this part, especially with our little meal that even provides us AC. Nothing noteworthy on the bodies, and we can continue up ahead. Again, having Jthal with her high perception check here is pretty good, as these traps can be rather difficult to spot. Even the chicks themselves have the same thingies here, though they reward a lot of experience points. Note a red door here. We cannot pass this yet, so we'll continue onwards, where we can find the red little item thingy, which opens a few doors across the place. Doors are opening somewhere in the dungeon. Cyclops here, and I believe there's a priest somewhere, so we'll try and skirt around. Another Cyclops. Maybe I cannot reach them. I was wrong. This group is only a few Cyclops. Pretty simple stuff. With this room here, we can get another clue from this one. Luckily, the toggle plates are noted on your map, and after your map looks a little something like this, so you've gone up here, I want you to return to this one, park one of your dudes here, or rather, complete a little bit of the eastern side, followed by parking one of your dudes here, and then you can unlock some more stuff of the map. The reason we came up here is for this, which opens the door that was down here. So let's go down there. As you can see, the door has opened here, so we'll go through. There's gonna be enemies here as well as traps, so if possible, have them come to you. I believe there is a priest in this group, so do be careful. To have them come to you, simply take a ranged person like Egan and have them shoot. And indeed, this mark here is whole person, and as long as it targets one of our frontline, which it is right now, since we have freedom of movement, we are unaffected by this. We still want to be careful about committing to this room, because there's a trap here and one further along, so ideally this idiot will want to pull as close to over here after we've dealt with the initial idiots. There's one of the traps we have to avoid. This other one got a 94 crit on Jthal, which sucks. I found that if you walk behind here, so you break line of sight, this one will walk closer and you can catch them once it has passed this trap. It has now passed it, so let's bum rush them. It has also swapped over to channel negative energy, but it didn't get it off before it died. Zombie Cyclops has enchanted gear, the others have just little +1s or masterworks. Let's heal up Jthal with her undead spells. And there we go, good as new. Here's the other trap then. They have weird shapes, so do be somewhat careful about accidentally triggering them. Luckily these ones have pretty low DC. If you're like me and didn't bring, or if you brought Octavia, who should have about 10 points higher in trickery, there's also a trap following along this line here. With that disarmed, we can take a quick loot over here, grab an ancient Cyclops coin, and continue this way, and hopefully get the perception check here. Indeed. And through this door is a robe of fire for fire spells, could go on Octavia for example. We also have a wand of freedom of movement with 11 charges. You can definitely make use of that while you are here if you want to save on the spells. Up to you though. And this is just a regular composite short bow +2. With this little secret room done, we can move up here until we find another trap. It should be located around here. Right there indeed. Note that there's a blue room here, or blue door here, so we have to find a blue switch to unlock that passage. Let's grab this first and continue this way until we see more barbarians. Quite simple and easily to deal with. Again, as long as you make sure that they don't reach your backline, these aren't really much of a threat. We can take our time to loot through this. There's not truly that much necessary on them, but they do have a few masterwork weapons here and there. Once you've cleared through here until you meet a door with an orange lock, we can send one of our people back to click this, which will then open the door here and the door down here. Leave your least useful member behind. As you can see, it is either green doors or yellow doors that open through this, so we can only enter this way once, and then we have to complete this area over here before we can continue proper. In my case, I'll leave Lindsay behind and then take everyone else, plus the dog bro, and go through here, while Lindsay stays behind. Once they arrive at this door then, go over to Lindsay once more, or whoever you left behind, open it, go back to this place, and a new pathway has unlocked both ways, both this way and that way. We have to clear this southern path first, and more specifically this bottom one to unlock progress. So let's do so. There's a perception check there. I should not mark them all, that's fine. We'll send Lindsay over there again. We got stuff, so we'll continue. This door is just another set of barbarians. The reason why we're doing this is to open the blue doors. There's blue doors, is the next progress, both up here, and as you've seen, there was also a blue door here, which allows us to continue through this way. Once the loot and the pressure plate has been toggled, we can go outside again, and now the blue doors over here is open, so we can meet up out here somewhere. So let's get to it. Lindsay will go this way, and the rest should go through the center. We'll see who gets there first. It seems like Lindsay is on speed, but we arrive pretty much at the same time. With the blue doors open then, we can also go through this door, over to the next set of doors that we can open. Here's an orange door that we've talked about. This was from the other side, and this is also the next set of doors we'll open, the orange ones. I did call it a puzzle, but it's basically just unlocking your way through this little area here by opening the corresponding colored doors. I don't even think I'll take the time to mark them in editing, as it's quite simple to find if you just waltz your way through. Here's a amulet of mighty fists and a token of a dryad. Before you waltz too much past, when you see these little dead bodies, there's a spectre on each of them, and I recommend you casting Death Ward with someone like Tristan, for example, at least on your frontline characters. Like that. The reason we're doing this is because they can drain you of your levels, although you can fix it with something like Restoration, although not the lesser version, but the better version, or Heal even, can also fix it. There's a few ways to fix it, even if they drain you. You can see them appear slow and steady like, and if you position yourself in a way like this, where your frontline all have Death Ward, you can just wait until they phase into existence, and then fight them off. They do attack on touch, so they have a fairly high chance to hit, since they hit with a plus 12 to touch, and our touch is our weakest AC on all of our frontline, even with our buffs and so on. We could get better versions of this, but as long as you have Death Ward, the damage they do isn't truly horrible. I mean, they're doing between 1 to 8, so nothing. You can also take someone like Tristan, for example, and instead of using Channel Positive, and, well, you could also go in here and then Channel Negative to damage the undead, but we'll quickly heal up. One quick heal later, 31 HP on Ogbo, our dog, and he's ready again. Here's the penultimate door we'll want to open. It has an orange, blue, and a white lock. For now though, we cannot open to that door. Once you've cleared this room, I want you to click on your map and return to around down here, where we can now go through the other side up here. We are now working on the orange locked doors, so let's get to it. Progress through here, and you should find some more Cyclops, nothing new here. Once the enemies are defeated, you want to make sure to disable this, unless you want to heal up Jaethal, as it will continuously cast channel energy to heal the undead in the area. Once it's been disabled though, feel free to continue. Cyclops going up here, knowledge world there, some light armor or light gear from this point here, just masterwork weapons. Another trap we can disarm. We can open this little door here. Once Jubilos gets there, he's currently slowed, which is rather annoying. Although once he's no longer a snail, you can get some fair nice items behind here, and also just syllables in terms of this stuff here. More zombie Cyclops here, nothing new. Masterwork weapons, and we can grab the loot behind and also click the orange door here. Note this door is white, so we cannot go through that currently. Edible moss. There we go. Clicked. Now we have the orange doors that are opened for now. Well, now. Let's head back to the central area and go through the orange doors. Unfortunately though, it operates on a short timer, so you cannot get through it with all of your people, aka you have to leave one of your people behind again. Nothing too interesting there, we'll just leave Lindsay. Since we now have, whatchamacallit, Lindsay back there, once we open the orange doors, this will open, which we don't need. But more importantly, we'll have the rest of the party go down to this orange door that we left alone. Once we are there, we'll flip over to Lindsay, we'll pause, and then we'll pause again. We'll go over to the rest of our folks, mark them, and continue. Inside here then, we'll find a few undeads, but also a switch to the white doors in this map. The enemies in here can be annoying, but you should be fine. There is some nice loot in terms of masterwork and also some enchanted stuff as well. This is a little bit of a waste of money since we bought one of these, but we can sell it anyway. There's also a letter for that quest. We'll read it and then we'll take it. Now we have two of those. Let's open this door as well. Now we have the white doors opened. This carries a Torx pendant, a camp or rations, and a masterwork great club, alongside a composite longbow +1 on one of the rangers. This little thing here is a +2 furious falchion if you're using those, and an ancient scrap of a script-covered leather. With the white doors opened now, we can regroup back at Lindsay's position. To do so, let's go to the door, have Lindsay, whoops, she apparently aggroed a little bit in the combat, so we'll have her walk back to the thingy, click it, pause, have our folks, and regroup back at her position. So we'll go to Lindsay, and there we go. That click is the timer, by the way, for how long it lasts. Slowly our party will make our way over there. We're doing this to unlock the cyan doors, or the light blue ones anyway. Jaethal took a bit of a battering once more. She is after all our weakest companion right now in this party, so that's fine, at least when it comes to frontliners. Through here then, trap, traps ahead, traps to the side, traps all around. We want to make it up to the room that is north or east, whatever you want to call it, of this position. To do so, we'll have to get through these traps here, another trap here. There are also traps down this corridor here. With that little detour done, let's get back to the main area, which is here. There should be a few more traps. And once all of your skill checks are done, there'll be a soul eater here. It is also capable of negative levels, but if you have death ward like I do, you are immune to such things. Look at how nasty these guys are. Let's take a bit of a time to heal up here. 1, 2, should be fine. Well, Ogbo is a little bit hurt, but now he's back to full power, and we can open this, which is the blue doors. Script covered leather in this little pocket here. Like the orange lock, it is also on a timer, but since there's no more enemies in this little general direction, we can send Lindsay down to the other timered thingy. We'll leave Jaethal here. We'll grab you 4 and continue. Once Lindsay has gone down there, we can open this, pause, get through, go. I'd like to get through this one as well. Please. Thank you. And as you can see, we are back here. Orange, cyan, and white. We already have the white, which is permanent. So we will go to orange, click, Jaethal, click. Then we'll go to the main group. This door should then open. There she goes. Through here then is the penultimate locked thingy. This right here. And once you click that button, all the doors in the tomb are fully unlocked. Which also means you can freely explore the rest of it if you missed any valuable loot or anything. Since we have all of our buffs still running for a bit more, we can push forward until we defeat the quote-unquote last area of this map. We'll wait for Jathal and Lindsay to get here, although in truth that's not really needed, so we might as well push through. We got some more Soul Eaters. I wonder if my friends are gonna get here in time. That's a good question. Even if your death ward runs out, once you've defeated these Soul Eaters, there's nothing that'll inflict bad things like that up here, so it's fine. There'll be a little bit of loot and some remaining enemies, but let's clear out the loot first. This door is locked, so we cannot deal with this yet. This door's also locked, but there's a defaced sister here, which once we get close enough, there's a respective good option here. If you haven't got the achievement, you can click this. This will also, but before we can do that, or before we do any of this, we can go through dialogue first. And we'll make the good decision here. We're given a Cyclops incense burner. Once we do, the screen shakes a lot. Things are opened, enemies will pop out. Since Cyclops aren't anything new, it's pretty simple to deal with. Just be slightly careful of the priests and focus them down, since those are really the highest priority targets, even though they are not that bad. Feel free to take your time and loot the place, run through any missed areas, or just take a regander through the entire tomb itself. You might find something that you missed initially. Light shield +3 here and a battle axe +3. Both will serve as pretty good funds, since we're just gonna sell them. We find a raven here. He still wants to know our name. Again, even if you give the name now, you will have to give it later. So we'll just say I have to go, since there's nothing we can get from them. There's an edible moss and the exit is right there. As long as you come away with a Fallen Warrior's boots, around about 5 of these Cyclops coin, 2 additional ancient scrap covered leathers, the robe of fire, and any other enchanted gear that you so see fit, you are free to exit, as there's nothing really else of note, even if you were to scour the entire spot. In any case, however, always make sure to take a gander through their inventory, as you might just be able to catch a few snippets of loot. Since we won't come back here in the future, and if you were to do so, you will only get access to the first room we entered, you might as well grab all of this and just head to the Kellid Barbarian camp, sell off this trash, before continuing. As long as you don't go into heavy encumbrance, you can freely head back here and then up to the City of the Hollow Eyes. We can sell all our trash to Doug the Merchant. We'll even sell our leftover protective gear that we know for a fact that we won't use, since we already have the same or better equipped. With all of the rubbish sold and a few magical items as well, plus some oysters that we don't need, we can make 33,000. Since we've sold all of the rubbish, let's head out again. Next stop, City of Hollow Eyes. We have an event that we can take care of. We might as well, since we have nothing better to do with Castle. Remember, we are only available to access our kingdom, since we've built a aviary in Silvershire, a tier 2 building locked behind Relations rank 3, which is very useful since we are on the map here, and we technically do not own Barnhold, Dunswood, and the Tors region down here. Here we are, City of Hollow Eyes. Light buffs complete, let's continue. We arrive at a Barbarian encampment here, and they'll immediately start fighting some Cyclops just up ahead. Here they are then, a few dread ones and just regular ones as well. The Barbarians are actually more than capable of handling this on their own, but we can speed up the process just a tad. Plenty Cyclops dead, a few coins gained, or rather 1, and masterwork weapons out the wazoo. Before we talk to Hyla here, we'll grab the loot in the vicinity. Raise dead scroll in that little chest there. There's 3 more pieces of loot over yonder. It is even trapped here. This bow here is pretty good on someone like Knock Knock, since it comes equipped with point blank shot and precise shot, so it could work as a bow if you want to use Knock Knock as a little archer, if you want to do any ranged shenanigans with him. Even though he doesn't do too well at it, there's an option for it. A recipe for Camberberry pie. Once you've grabbed all the loot, let's talk to Hyla. We don't want to lie to her, nor do we want to kill her, as that lowers the favor with the barbarians. So we'll just go through her dialogue, and she'll ask us to take care of the scouting of this place, so we'll make a deal, and let's continue. If you've seen the Varnhold Lot DLC, you might have seen that we've already been here, but this map is a little to the southeast of where we actually were primarily. The main spot of this thing is gonna be over here in the top left corner of the map, which serves as the middle of the actual DLC thingy. Before we cross the river, let's continue down the path until we find some loot and a few more encounters. Grab this. Yoink. Masterwork weapons, some consumables. They were killed very recently. There's an exit here. Further along, we should find out what killed them. A little Cyclops friend. A Cyclops friend over there too, and a third here. This is even a ferocious one. But if we have our dog bro here, he's our highest tank, and he's tying up the ferocious one. Masterwork weapons on them and also in here. See, there's a little tent here. And let's continue. The top here contains some minor valuables. And we should find one more encounter against these walls. And even some barbarian, actually bandits. Let's help them out to the best of our abilities. It is a pretty simple fight here, and we can just wrap it up, get the masterwork weapons, any skins as well, and let's continue. One final piece of loot can be gathered from all the way up here. Yoink. Skin. Let's see what's happened. Single devastating blow. Potentially we can find out what dealt that blow in the future. Let's cross the river up here and figure out what we can find, and potentially what dealt that blow to that animal. We should find it in this general vicinity, right here. Could happen from one of these guys, for example. After a little bit of healing up, we can grab the various weapons, including a thing +1, great axe +1 right there, and basic enchanted stuff as well. Let's figure out what these Cyclops were guarding. As we wobble up, there's an amulet of natural armor +2 in there, a Cyclops coin over there, and the dead body here carries a fallen warrior sheath and a helmet of int +4, which we've already seen a few times at this point. Let's waltz over this way, just until we reach the steps of the ruins, where we'll find these bandits. We'll focus on the Bard and the Chesna first, since those are the quote-unquote threatening ones. And the rest of you can just go ballistic. Bandits dealt with, plenty of magical items we can sell in the future. This is just normal rubbish. Masterwork, yep. Leather armor +2 and an adamantine, potentially worth keeping solely for the adamantine tag. Falcata +3. And a script covered leather and other stuff. Let's go back to the path over yonder. A few of them are slowed, so I might actually want to group up first. I don't have a haste here. I have a singular haste here, although should I... I'll just bear with it. Once the rest of our party is no longer slowed, we can progress until we have a dead person here and some more Cyclops. Not even Masterwork, so I don't care about that. Luckily we got a few, whatchamacallit, things that are gonna take some... Luckily we got a few distractions in terms of bandits that the Cyclops will focus on. Returning back to the path, we can cross it and get close to this, where we should find a top. Blammo. And as we approach the ruins here, we have another fight left, of another fight thingy. We'll grab that loot from this dude. We'll deal with some stuff over here, across this. Just more bandits, pretty simple. We got more bandits patrolling in. There's a leader among them this time. We'll greet him with a dog. It appears we have a bard that'll cast haste. Not that it's gonna matter. We even got a cleric that'll cast conjure animals, and it's a level 4 spell, followed up by more summoning. And there we go, bandits dealt with. More loot we can grab, and pretty simple stuff. Bandits are not a threat for level 11s, nearly 12s. We got a very active warg here. I hope he's doing fine. And it seems that Akondeo is joining in on the fun. So we'll send in our friends and hopefully that'll fix them up. Got some more bandits and, well, trash tier stuff. Nothing too exciting there. And we've reached the end of, or the edge of the map here. Let's go up alongside here. Dead bodies again. More magical items and masterwork stuff. Let's trance along the edge of the map for a little while. We should find a little bit more encounters. Nothing we haven't faced though. These poor ones seem to be stuck. And final loot spot before we go into the main temple. Should be right there. Yep. Blammo, Rage Claw Longsword, Adamantine 2. Potentially a candidate of keeping solely for the Adamantine property. This carried some masterwork weapons and some gold. Let's do the main ruins first now then. We got a greater Cyclops here. We can try to decipher the speech. If you want to kill them, feel free to do so, but the most profitable way of doing this is actually through the skill checks here for the experience. First one grants 720 experience. We can try and move closer. There's a perception check to inspect the stone, and we can also detect magic. What are you guys arguing about? What makes this treasure so valuable? A few options here. This is the most experienced, this is the next one, though as you can see they are chaotic, which we ideally want to avoid. So we'll go with it, detect magic. We'll just fight them regularly, even though they are annoying and they can hit quite hard. Because I don't want to do more chaotic things for the sole reason of chaotic. As long as it focuses on the dog, we are fine. Even Edrahel can tank it quite fairly easily. A bit of healing later, we can continue. We only got one last encounter left and a lot of loot to cover. This is the encounter, just some regular little Cyclops friends. One more coming from the other side. We'll intercept with our dog that gets hit again. This is just spectacular at this point. And we got another one. We'll move away while he focuses in on our front line, hopefully. Okay, nope. Dog, intercept. There we go. And finally, dead. There's some ancient scrap and a great axe +1 there on this little pile of dead. Here we got a little poor soul that's dead as well. We should have a trap there. Let's see if we can disarm that. There's actually nothing behind here, but there is something behind on the other side, to the right here. Let's loot this trash. Yoink, 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 yoink. Go over to the right side, grab all of it, since that's masterwork. Another trap should be located here as well. And once you've done that, we can interact with the little doorway here. Speak our magic word. First though, we can do a little inscription with a knowledge world check. This is just free experience. And now let's speak our magic word. We immediately met with the defaced sister here. So the defaced sister walks up to us. We can attack her and kill her. Although we'll just send her back to camp. In this little tomb then, there's one enemy I believe. And the smart ones among you can probably guess it's another blimming Cyclops. We can grab a little thing here. Walk to the other side, grab some more stuff, a corrosive tongi if you're using those. Another Cyclops coin and some consumables there, and a trap here. As soon as you start disarming that or just getting close enough, this idiot will pop out. We'll just send Dog Bro over there first, and, well, kill him. Quite simple, just one Cyclops and a little axe +1. Lovely jubbly. This door cannot be opened, and we can grab the extra loot. Cyclops coin, valuables, done and done. Let's head outside. Little Raven wants to have a chat after you've robbed the place, which is fair, I suppose. Reveal your name or don't, you're gonna be forced to do it anyway. Let's go back to the intro or the starting area of the map and talk to Healer and report our scouting. Once we return, if you send Healer back, or rather the Deface Sister back to camp, you'll get some money, and that's the end of the conversation. There's only a little skill checks if you killed her, which means that you can bluff and say, no, you didn't. And if you fail those, you'll lose favorability with the Barbarians. We could grab all of this loot and then head back to the campment and sell it, before heading up north, completing some optional areas, and then returning to the Forsaken Mound, which is the last quest location. In fact, I think I'll grab the loot, all of it in fact, and also head to the Kellid encampment. Sell all of our rubbish for another fair bit of gold. We can sell all of it for another 27,000 gold. Once back on the world map, we can go up to this mark here. Then we can take a loop around until we find our next location, and then we can rest before entering. And we are awfully close to where we started in Restov, which is pretty funny. Or interesting at least. There's only one encounter in here, and they are specters, so we'll pop on Death Ward here on just our front line, which is more than sufficient. We don't need much more buffs than that. Let's continue until we meet them, which is very soon. Just past the bones, and there they are. There should be 5 of them, I believe. They'll start casting shield, which is going to be a little annoying on the remaining ones, since they'll have 4 AC higher, but it should be fine. As long as you have Death Ward on your front line and they are targeting them, even if they hit, they're not going to do much damage, since they do between 1 and 8. They will hit you fairly often unless you buffed up with spells such as Mage Armor, Shield, and other things. And this is just a battle of time. Jaethal did take a battering, but we can heal it up with a few undead healing things. Good as new. Let's grab our rewards. A padded armor, Jester's Vest, particularly good if you're using Hitty's Laughter often on Lindsay, otherwise pretty meh. It does have a high max dexterity, so if you buffed up with dex things or other things, she can get 10 AC from this item. There is also, more of a note, a Ring of Protection plus 3, which is a pretty large upgrade for someone like Jaethal. And here's Jaethal's weapon for shard plus 3. She should now be a little bit more safe, because she now has further reach than this. This has 2 reach, whereas this has 6 feet range. And we've already specialized her in for shards. 15 to 20 times 2, so we'll lose 2 more, or 2 times the damage, but we crit much more often, with a 15 to 20 instead of a pure 20. We're also slightly more accurate since we have weapon focus in it. We do a little bit less damage since we don't have frost on it. Overall though, this weapon is going to be a big pickup for her though. Now she's actually doable to carry with you in the party, since she can reach from behind and is less susceptible to getting hit due to that fact. Our next location, up 1, left, past this one, so left once more, reach the main road, head down, and this spider slayer is right there. Before that we have a success with our storyteller. This location is pretty simple. It's basically just a little back and forth mission here. You can pass through here as well, up this way I think, or maybe not. If not, just walk around. You'll face plenty of these idiots, and they are really not that much of a threat. The most annoying part of this is that they do have blur on them that cannot be dispelled, so unless you have blind fight, you can struggle just a tad, though not too much. You might want delay poison, since they technically do have poison on hit, so if they somehow pull off a miracle, there is a chance you become poisoned. Here she comes, the matriarch, and it does have some damage reduction, which is slightly annoying, but nothing we can't power through with brute force. She does carry some loot though, I think. There we go. Spider legs. Some stuff can be gathered, including a arrow guard. This has a whole +7, or actually +8 to if you're hit by ranged attacks, so it pretty good in that regard. There's also a little recipe in there, though not for one that we want to use really. Loot here, Cyclops coin, and mushrooms down here, and that wraps up this location. Pretty simple stuff, nothing really of note here, only that arrow guard. Next stop is the unfinished clearing. To get there, just follow the road until you can take a little offspring or off branch into the location. There's nothing on the outsides of this map, there's only a little something inside, though nothing of any threat level. We're only doing it for the reward, even though we already have it equipped on someone already. Extended haste, and I suppose a barkskin, a shield, and that is more than sufficient. Inside we'll find these little alpha walks here. There should be 5 of them. Just bonsai into them. And done. Skin, collect, and around here, yep, that's the barrel with the loot. Enchantment, or enchant escape, which we bought last time out as well, somewhat recently, and also a punching dagger. So both of those items can be sold for about 3,000 gold. Our next location is somewhat out of the way. It is this one down here, the Precipice Trail. And then after that we'll likely hit up one more location before we circle over to the Forsaken Mound. And then heading up to the Kellid encampment, wrapping up Act 4, which should be in about 1 or 2 episodes from now. Let's make our way down there. Travel alongside the river until we can get over here. We're still waiting 6 days so we can travel double our speed in mountains. This is Harem's companion quest, so next time we're back there we have to talk to him and start it. Though that's gonna be towards the latter half of Act 2, once we finish up the main quest. The next location after Precipice Trail has been revealed, Ghost Stone here. There's nothing on the outside of this map and only one dude inside the main little thing. We'll go over yonder, just past it, to get this loot. Then before entering the cave on a very familiar map we've been at multiple times already, we'll throw on our daily barkskin, and I suppose we can get a little shield in. That should be sufficient. Entering inside, let's check our dog's AC. 39, 42, yep, that's fine. Because this guy in here only has about a plus 20 to hit. This idiot here. We'll take Ogbow, charge. The rest of you can just get in there slowly. And indeed, actually it's a little higher, plus 25 to hit, so there is a fairly decent chance with a 14, but it'll go up after we haven't charged and after we are fighting defensively. And it has now gone up to 41, so it has to roll a 16. And Timber! There she goes. Yoink. Belt of Physical Might, Strength and Constitution +4. This body then has a Psi +2. The latter half of his body has Exquisite Pearls and Bloodstones. Quite simple and easy location. Next up, as mentioned, Ghost Stone. Before we continue, go to the right for some edible moss. This location can go into combat, but we can also resolve it diplomatically. We hear a noise. That's a successful Knowledge Arcana check, very low DC, and that's also a Wisdom check. The noise dissipates and we can go to the left here to get some more moss, actually herbs. After that then we can continue this way until we see this. Low nature check, locked behind a perception check too. Inside the chest next to it there's a torn book, feel free to pause and read. Some rations and some minor valuables as well. Goblin Horse Reaper up here, hidden perception check, luckily we have Jathal. Decent experience numbers. We can intimidate the poor fellow. If Knock Knock were to be in the party here, that'd be an extra little experience check that also points out that this guy is lying. We'll just intimidate him for the experience. And another 240 on top with the intimidation. And they run. Knowledge Arcana check here, and a Spooderman that you can technically fight. Though if you solve it diplomatically, he'll give you a little bit of gold. If you want to fight it, he carries a belt of strength +4, so if you don't have one of those, or if you just want more money from killing it, and then getting the gold from selling the belt, feel free to do so. I do not believe that there is a downside of killing this little friend here. And since I think I want the gold from the belt, I'll actually attack it. Down it goes. I don't believe we get any experience. Oh, we do. So we actually both get experience and this, which is worth, excuse me, 4,000. So I can sell one of those for a pretty penny. Let's grab the stuff down here. I think there's stuff down here. Maybe it's ahead of that road instead. It's right there. 45 experience from figuring out what that little rock is or column is. Thing. Wand of Restoration Lesser. 22 charges. Nice. And a composite shortbow +2. One more loot should be right here, I think. Actually, never mind. There. Token of a Dryad. Perfect for the storyteller. Let's head out of this location then, since we've done everything now. We can snag a nice upgrade if we were to go and visit this location. So we'll do so. There's a few high trap here, here, and here. Disarming them should net you about 800 experience. And there's also one encounter further ahead against an insane wizard. If you have Lindsay and, or rather Octavia and Jathal, you're almost guaranteed to both discover and disarm these pretty easily. Those are the last remaining traps. They have pretty high AC. There is a chance that if you try and disarm this, you might get spotted by the enemy. So potentially swapping over the Cloak of Shadows on your trickery person, and otherwise giving them ability checks towards trickery. So that's heroism and prayer and so on. Should be sufficient for that. Lindsay disarms one of the traps while she's, stealthing around with prayer and heroism online. The enemy spots her, so we might as well take all of our idiots and bomb rush him. Once the wizard goes down, his summoned idiots does too. He carries this, which is an upgrade for Jubilost or a treasurer in general, +6 instead of a +4. Note, funnily enough, old storage is actually within Silvershire /Silver Step, so we can claim it. So before we head to the next location, which is around here, we can quickly go up and claim this. We have a triumph back home, giving us some build points from this feat up here. So we'll claim this wine here before heading over to the Linnorm's grave. We'll skip this on our way back after we've completed almost everything, at least the main quest, as it's on the way back here to locations that are wrapped around here and ends there. There's 3 enemies on this map and we can quickly remove the fatigue. Not that we needed it, but now that we're buffed, let's fight off these idiots here. There's 3 of them, and we can pretty easily take care of them. We took 1 hit on ourselves, but pretty easily done. Grab that, continue, and now we can loot the location. Fun fact, after doing this location as well, we can also get a certain completion of the task for the hidden thief, or sweet thief, these guys, once we return back to our capital, and we can even get a pet version of these guys at their little house. Let's grab this. 2-bladed sword +2, token of a dryad, some more mushrooms, and the last bits of loot should be over yonder, just some basic valuables and ingredients. With that complete, and the recipe for the mastodon food gotten, this right here, we can copy it and leave the location. Since this down here is a storybook event, we can bring that in as one of the final few things we do in this little episode. We got some enemies. Oh, he's a big boy. Let's throw in another haste. And let's kill them. And down they go. 360 experience. Could even be a level up. Indeed. Nothing of note there. Let's continue. Fortunately, Jubilost is still a little bit behind with 8 experience. But we'll get some experience from this down here. Let's get to it. Forsaken Mound. We say the word Crypt. We continue. We have a few options. Nature, Perception, or 1, 3, and 5. Let's clean off the mold here first. This discovers an inscription. To get the most experience out of this storybook event, we will say the magic word, Crypt. We will examine the mold first. 67 experience. Carefully search the corridor for traps. 90 experience. Let's clean the mold. Knowledge world. read the inscription for 16 experience for reading it. Moving ahead down the corridor, there's a law religion or knowledge arcana check here. Let's examine the crypt, 180 experience. Let's examine the body of the sister, 405 experience, and this Cyclops incense burner. You could also just take the burner and leave, but with all of that and the checks complete, we should have netted about just shy of about 800 1,000 experience total, which is definitely enough for a level up. With that, we've already also gotten the missing sisters at all of the locations. We found the relics that they are looking for, so our next task is heading up here to the Kellid Barbarian camp, which we can do by crossing up here and then taking the route up that way. I think we have 1 or 2 more minor locations before we head up there, so let's get up there. More enemies, great. Just bandits, no problem. We'll grab all the loot and continue. Take a right here, continuing along, up the border of the map, clicking in the collapse passage. Before we enter, we'll level up, rest, and then do it before heading up to the Kellid Barbarian camp and leaving it there. Level 12 for us is just another paladin level. We get Mark of Justice, which is huge. This allows us to spend 2 of our Smite Evil abilities, or charges rather, to effectively grant Smite Evil to all of our allies. This not only increases our own AC equal to our Charisma should we smite an enemy, but it also inflicts the Charisma over to attack rolls and damage rolls for all of our party members, not just ourselves. This is a perfect evil ender or killer. We'll increase strength up to 24, get persuasion and a little bit of trickery as well, I suppose. For Ekin, another level into ranger, we get favored enemy and a feat. We can improve dexterity up to 26. For our feat, we'll go archery and improved precise shot. This means we ignore anything but total concealment, which is valuable for our ranger, so we'll pick that up. And for the favored enemies, we're gonna go Fey, and we're gonna go Fey. This gives us a +4 against Fey, which is very valuable, since we're gonna face a lot of those idiots in the future. For Lindsay, it's another level into Eldritch Knight. And unfortunately we don't get anything from this. We'll increase Charisma and do our skill points. For her last main level 2 spell, Sense Vitals for Sneak. For her level 4 spells though, we'll get Serenity. This affects only enemies and anyone that tries to attack while under this spell, note it's also enchantment as well, which we're good at, will take 3d6 points of damage each round they attempt to hit us. Or each round they attempt to damage us, which is a fair bit of passive damage if they fail the check here. You could go Dimension Door on a spontaneous caster like Lindsay, which is pretty valuable. Alternatives could be freedom of movement, greater invisibility, hold monster, right there. But I suppose I'll go Dimension Door since it's not all the time that I have Octavia in the party. And it's always good to have a nice spontaneous caster like a bard. For Jubilost, level 12 Alchemist, we pick up another discovery, and his discovery will be Blinding Bombs. This basically inflicts blind with bombs if we use those bombs. They also become dazzled as well. It basically is a glitter dust on a bomb. We'll increase intelligence, do our skill points, and call it a good day. On Jubilost, we'll pick up Restoration or Stone Skin. I mean, I want to save for Stone Skin Communal, so I'm just going to go Restoration. There we go. Cleric is as Cleric does, level 12, 20 Wisdom, skill points. Whoops, we even got one more. I suppose we can pop that into Magic Device. No new spells, but potentially a few more here and there. Jethal isn't truly interesting either. Inquisitor 11. We get Stalwart for free. If we succeed a Fortitude or Will throw against an attack, we have it. It's a very niche ability that doesn't do a whole lot. It's only a passive ability that'll trigger every now and then. For her level 12 though, keep pumping strength. Level 1 spells doesn't really matter here. I suppose we can get True Strike for those kinds of shenanigans. Level 4 spells, however, we can use her as a off healer as well with Cure Critical, alternatively Protection from Energy Communal, which is probably a bad idea. Well, no, I'm gonna get healing. Remember to pop in new spell slots after level up on your casters. After a rest, we can enter the collapsed passage and end at the Kellid Barbarian encampment afterwards. There's a trickery to thingy to spot this, and then a trickery to disarm a trap from it. This disarms one of the traps that would have otherwise popped if you were to fight, or when you fight these enemies ahead. Mostly just undead zombies and various things. These are also traps that we can disarm. These ones here. A lot of zombies, a singular big boy cyclops, and, well, we'll just border up on this little choke point here and have them come to us. Channel negative energy on both your main character, if you're following along with the paladin anyway, and Tristan can take care of a fair few of these smaller folks, while if you have reached, I believe it's level 8 in Inquisitor with Jaethal, which you should be by now as well, we no longer... Fuck. We no longer take damage from channel negative energy, nor positive either. We no longer take damage from channel positive, and, well, that's just nice. 60 and 54 with Jubilost's 2 bombs. If we were hasted, that would have been 3. So we dealt half of his HP in one round with one character, with only 2 bombs as well. And Ekin brings him down, the rest is just easy peasy. All of these plates are rigged with traps, and, well, we have to be somewhat careful about walking on them. With all of the traps disarmed, we can loot this rubbish here. Not that there's anything we came for, but the Cyclops here carries what the true treasure was. A belt of strength plus 6, and that's about it. We'll grab all of that since we're heading towards the encampment anyway. Now we go back to the Barbarian camp. As soon as you walk forwards, you will have a chat with those here, and you will be evaluated depending on what you've done throughout this main quest. If you have a positive fear ability with the Barbarians, you'll have to fight less of them, but also you get to keep the main dude, Dugath, alive. While if you have a negative fear ability with them, you will have to fight all of them. Not that it's going to be incredibly difficult, but I'd like to avoid fighting the entire encampment. So we'll buff up just slightly with basic things. In we go. The defaced sister tries to antagonize us by claiming that we are a killer, which I can't really deny those allegations. If you are neutral, this is one of the alignment achievements here. If not, you have a diplomacy check and also a law religion check that was hidden. We'll go with the diplomacy check since that's worth more experience. And here we were heard, or the raven overhears our name, so this is basically the point where even if you told or were hiding the name, the defaced sister told, even if you were attempting to hide your name thus far, having been denounced and having the defaced sister saying our name out loud, having the defaced sister say our name out loud, the raven overhears it and thus knows our name, so even if you are trying to hide it, it would now know it. It just depends if you want to reveal it earlier or not. It doesn't really have any effect anyway. And thus, if you saved the barbarians or did your best, you'll have to fight less of them, and of course the defaced sisters, Bulga as well, and a few here and there. Pretty simple to do if you're slightly buffed before entering this location. Once they're all dead, like so, the quest wants us to talk to Dugath, but first we'll loot the barbarians and sell all of our rubbish to the merchant. Because if you talk to Dugath, the merchant will disappear. So we'll want all of our gold to be grabbed now instead of saved. Let's talk to Doug, sell all of our rubbish. We'll sell more enchanted stuff and almost be at 400,000, making this episode 100,000 richer than where we started, almost. With our rubbish sold, let's talk to Dugath and chat with him. Gates to the Valley of the Dead has been revealed, if not already. You can technically fight him, but personally I think it's not worth it. Plus I want to keep at least one dude alive, and it will have consequences, so we'll just say farewell. This will complete 2 quests, rewarding about 1500 experience. With that being said though, this is also where we'll end off the episode. So I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.